Yeah, it was meant to meet for 2 hours, and we met up for like
We'd been
10
together
hours.
for like 6 hours, like more at this point. We met up at midday, and this is like
So,
10
yeah,
o'clock
so
at night.
there's no-
and
I'm
we
not trying to
had
rationalise it,
literally
but,
just
yeah.
like talking and just, I felt like I'd known him forever. And there was a definite turning point in that meeting. And I think the moment that turning point happened and I had the time to digest it, I think I let my guard down and allowed myself to probably admit what I had been feeling exactly the same as Jake. But it always had to come from him. It always had to be led by him. And it was, and
then we actually had a couple of normal like date
Yeah.
like things that you would have if you met in kind of.
So then we went back a step and we kind of started from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's almost as if we lived a lifetime in that one date and we went from like strangers to potential life partners within the space of a few hours,
Yeah.
really, which sounds so nuts, but when you look at it in the context of the whole picture, it's not that nuts to us. And I think when we realised coming away from that and parting company at the end of the evening, we were like, there's potentially something here, and all we can do to that is spend more time together. So we kind of had a first proper date, because I didn't know that was a date. I don't think you even knew that was a date, but
No.
it became clear by the end of it that it probably was a date. So then we decided we'd have a first date, and then the next time we met, it was a date.
Oh.
And I got dressed up, and we went to the theatre, and it was a date. And we've been pretty reasonably inseparable ever since,
Yeah,
really,
I
haven't
think
we?
so, yeah. Made me perhaps have more respect for her immediately more so, because it didn't seem to mould the person she was. Not that it shouldn't, but being a mum, it was only an additional.
It didn't define me, and it never allowed
That's
it
a
to
nice way of
define
putting
me.
it, yeah. And then meeting him was really. We kind of did it quite. We integrated it as easily as we could. We basically just tried to make it as straightforward as possible, didn't we? I came to see him for a few hours.
Yeah.
Didn't make it obvious that I was maybe staying if I the first time I stayed, and kind of just.
Yeah. And the thing is, because I've got lots of friends around me, and he's used to spending time with male friends that I've grown up with in Wales that might come and stay for a weekend, or brother-in-law, and he's used to having a lot of people around in his life. So bringing Jake is absolutely the only man that Charlie has met in this context since his father, and God willing, and it will only be the only ever man he does meet in that context. So I felt pretty confident pretty early on that it was an appropriate step to take, but it was very much organically and gently, and he was introduced more as an extension of our already gorgeous community of friends.
And he's just brought out my childish side anyway. I just get to play
They're
Lego
like
every day.
Beavis and Butthead. You know this. Honest to God.
I get to play Lego every day, virtually. It's great.
And wrestle and
Yeah.
burp and all the other things that boys do. It's great. You're a lucky girl.
How about the future for you guys in terms of, would you want to grow your family, do you think, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, like we've.
He's like, shall we? Yes, yeah.
No, we've talked
Not
about
right
it,
now.
but yeah.
Yes, absolutely, very
It
much
just-
so.
Yeah. It's just been I think not the problem. The thing with us is that we don't seem to have done anything by halves. It's just because it's been every single week, every single day. There's always been like another adventure or issue to have to deal with in terms of everything, anything, moving house, trying to set up a business, me changing work, all sorts of stuff, and it'd be nice to have some kind of just a bit of time just for everything to bed in a little bit, but there's nothing more than we both want than that, for sure.
Yeah.
But just letting everything just settle. We've got an idea of getting another dog and all that stuff. So just
We want all those things, of course we do, but for us the big milestone was moving under the one roof. That was a huge thing for in the kind of development in our relationship and everything, is just being united in the one house under the one roof and establishing a normalcy in some crazy chaos cloud that had been created. And I think, as Jake just said, we just want to enjoy that moment and just kind of understand what it all means and what it feels like to live together.
like
and
moving
exist.
in as well, like the day basically before summer
Yeah.
holidays broke up. So we've
Yeah.
had summer holidays and a 4-year-old around 24/7. So trying to and me, and literally at the same time me trying to start a new line of work or so I don't even know how that's meant to work, let alone everything else. And then it's kind of just trying to absorb everything and see how it all settles
Yeah.
down, and it seems to be going really well. It seems to work really
Knowing
well.
us that all of that will happen when we least expect it, and it's not planned, and it will just be landed upon us, and we'll deal with it.
Mm.